Welcome, I'm Bev Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I'm all packed and ready to go to San Diego for the OnStage Live event, and this is one of the swaps I'm taking. I kind of like it because the Dragonfly will float around. I'll show you how to make it. Already stamped the Dragonfly from Dragonfly Dreams. I used Early Espresso and I stamped it on vellum cardstock. Early Espresso is not water resistant, and so I don't want it to bleed. So I have turned my paper over, and the Dragonfly looks just about as perfect on the back side as it does on the front, so I can safely paint the back with Wink of Stella without smearing. Because of a minor catastrophe, I have 2 sets of the detailed Dragonfly thinlits. It's really been a blessing though, because as I prepare my swaps, I have 2 sets, so it makes it faster to cut my Dragonflies. I'm coordinating the color from the Serene Scenery Designer Series paper stack. So I'm using, in this case, Old Olive. I'm using this framelit from the Project Life Cards and Labels framelit set. And I'm placing it near the top, covering it up, running it through the Big Shot. Before I remove the framelit from the cardstock, I'm using my Wink of Stella. This is the clear Wink of Stella, and just going around the edge of the framelit. You can do the same thing with a marker, and you actually get a more even line with Stampin' Up marker. This is more brush tip, so if your hand is wiggly like mine, you're going to have an irregular edge. But because you are drawing around a straight line, it's okay if it's irregular, because when you remove it, your line will be straight. Now this shows up different on different colored papers, but it just gives a little subtle border of sparkle, and I like it. I have already stamped the banner from Banners for You in Early Espresso, and I'm going to stamp You Amaze Me, Fabulous Friend, from that same stamp set. You Amaze Me is already curved the way I want it to go, so I just need to put it on there. But Fabulous Friend is actually curved the opposite direction. So I can start it out and then curve it the way I want it to by just looking through here and see if that's maybe curved a bit too much. So I can just adjust it a little bit until it's exactly where I want it to be. Perfect. And now I just need to stamp that in Early Espresso. And with the photopolymer stamps, I can see exactly where I want to stamp it. And I see that I needed to use, I see that I forgot my mat again. My Stampin' Pierce mat, and it really makes a difference because the photopolymer, unlike our red rubber, doesn't come with the little padding. So we add a little bit of padding with the mat, and then we get a nice image. I want to glue some gold metallic thread on the back of my Dragonflies. I'm going to use the fine tip glue pen. Now, some people don't think this sticks really well. I think it's because they expect it to work like a regular adhesive, but it works more like super glue, where it's kind of liquidy and it does not feel sticky. So you need to put it on there and then give it a little bit of chance to dry up, to set. And once that sets, it really is a pretty permanent adhesive. So it just needs a tiny speck. I'm putting it on the tips of the wings and also the center section, and I'm putting it behind the ink so it won't show as much. I'm putting this bit of glue here so that the thread stays in behind the dragonfly. Gluing a lot of these, I can just line them up, and I'm putting a dot of the glue just in the center because it's going to be easier once that thread gets adhered, then I can kind of bend it to the ends the way I want it. Make sure when you're done using the fine tip glue pen that you clean off the end and put your finger along the tip and put that pin that's in the cap down the throat of the glue tip. It should slide right in. And so then I can come through and lay my thread down the middle and not worry right now about lining up the sides. And now that the center is glued down, and you can see that it's really pretty solidly adhered, I can bring the sides over to the wings and glue the wing tips down. So it's relatively easy to get the wings glued down. Need to cut out these banners with the coordinating framelits. So I'm just using the magnetic platform. You could use the regular platform. And they pop right out and you have this lovely banner. I have my pile of card bases. These are actually just the card front, so I've got the designer series paper in the frame. I've got my pile of dragonflies, my pile of banners, and I did want to show you this one that I'm holding out as a full card. I have these cut exactly the same size, but on the card front I don't want to have to worry about it sticking out a little bit. So I'm bringing in my trimmer and I'm just going to cut off maybe 1/8 of an inch here. Just to keep that from hanging out the side. And I will go ahead and adhere this to my card base. My next task is to use these foam adhesive strips. I'll be using these instead of dimensionals because they're a little bit thicker, and I wanted to give a little bit of substance, especially to the cards that are not going to be on a card base. So I'm just pulling off a strip, and I want to go around the designer series paper relatively close to the edge. I wanted to apply this strip to the designer series paper because I want my dragonfly to be kind of floating above. And so I'm just going to use that metallic thread to suspend it, sort of. And then I'm going to have any extra right along the edge of the adhesive strip there. And then I will be covering that up with the cardstock. And then I'll just put one of these banners across here. Now you can see that I don't want adhesive across the top of that, so on the end and on the bottom. And there it is. Finished my swaps, and I just was so pleased with how they turned out with all the different backgrounds. So I thought I'd share them with you. So pretty. So I hope to see you in San Diego. Bye.